Every EV driver encountered this scenario.
This charger doesn't work.
What if I tell you can help the community improve the charging network and get something out of it? Encharge! Share your experiences and impressions at the charging station via Encharge. Give direct feedback, receive kilometers and stars, collect kilometers and exchange them for charging credits. Use the link in the description and get 20 kilometers for free.
Hello everyone, this is a bit of a different range test than you're used to, and it's all my fault. I'm an idiot. I have lost the footage, all of the Kia EV9 that I filmed in the last 2 weeks. I could get a few videos of the GoPros where I filmed the drive. And I know the result, and I have sent it to my Patreons and my YouTube members and everything. So I know a bit of the drive, but I cannot show you the talking that I did while doing it before and after. But we're gonna try it now this way, and I hope it's okay. This is how I started the whole drive. I charged to 90-something% and I had to drive to this starting spot. I put the car in eco, so I started with 90% state of charge. I reset my trip and everything. For the whole trip, in the beginning I needed a bit of heat, but at 50% of the drive, heat wasn't needed anymore. It was gone, which is nice. The temperature was between, oh god, now I should know that. I'm not sure perfectly. I think the warmest temperature was around 14 degrees, where I didn't need the heat anymore, where I turned it off then, and it was sunny. But I started with around 10 degrees, where it still was not that warm, and I needed the heat. But it was way better than 130 kilometers an hour range test before that. So I started the drive. I drove 112 on the speedometer. That's 110 kilometers per hour GPS speed. Like I said, I had heat on. 22 degrees was my heat setting, but driver only. And I saw in the EV real-time consumption that the heat took around 700 watts, so it wasn't that big. And like I said, it went down even to 500 watt. And then in the middle of the drive, I could turn it off, so it was enough. Consumption right now that you can see here is pretty high, but the first 10 kilometers are always uphill. And I was in eco mode, which is important, and I didn't have iPedal on, because when iPedal is on, the front motor is doing something too, because it needs the regen from the front motor as well, but I was in level 3. I was just at 80%, so I used 10% of the battery and was 48 kilometers, so full range would be 480. My average consumption right now is 247 watt-hours per kilometer. That's still high. It's 8 degrees out there. My heat is at 22.5, so it's not doing too much. Even says here it takes 500 watts. It's just not an efficient car. That's just how it is. It's just big and tanky. But the drive has been nice. I have to pass a few times because they're always cars that drive a bit slower. It's unbelievable how many cars, I'm doing a test, so yes, I understand, but how many cars drive under 100 or around 100 on the highway now, because gas prices. So when I was a kid, that never happened. Everybody drove 130. It was just standard. At around the middle of the drive, I can see after 176 kilometers, where I drove an hour and 40 minutes, consumption is 238 watt-hours per kilometer. And I can see that driving takes 96% of the energy, 2% for electronics and 2% for the climate, which is, and it's for the whole drive. So it's possible now with the sun that this is already cooled down. I drove as always the same way. I go in direction north to Regensburg, turn around there, and then go back to the crossing, highway crossing in Deckendorf, and then to Munich. I take this route because there's only a speed limit of 120 in there, where I can drive 130 for my 130 test. And the rest I can drive at 110. Of course, I can drive the whole time without a speed limit. And 130, it's just a short thing where I go from the GPS 132 or so to 130. So this is totally fine. The drive was perfect. When I do my 110 tests, I don't want to slow anyone down. So if I pass a car and I see someone else is coming, I speed up to around 120, even more if it's dangerous, of course, pass, and then I slow back down to the 110. So usually the average speed at the end is higher. That's just how it is, and that's totally fine. I just turned around and I also was at 40%, so I used 50%. And when I did that, I drove 216 kilometers. Full range would then be 432 kilometers at 110. Right now it's 14 degrees outside. I turned the heat off. I'm only at 20 degrees, driver only, and it says climate 0 kilowatt. So heat is not doing anything. No heat, no AC. The AC was before on. I saw that when I turned down the temperature automatically, but I turned it off now. It was just on for a few minutes. I navigated back. It's 102 kilometers back. I have 144 kilometers of range, but I think this is not correct. This is, at 130, because I drove 216 with 50% and I have 40% left, so I think I have 160 or so. Yes, the car also thinks I arrive at 1, that's in 45 minutes, which I can't do with 110, and it thinks that I cannot make it with the state of charge. So everything here is calculated with 130. That happens a lot, by the way. That is in a lot of cars. It doesn't take the stuff that you have done. It's all, you're on a highway, you drive 130, this would be your consumption, this would be your time. That's how it is. Overall at 110 the car is very comfortable, which is normal, and it's all fine here. When I arrive, Google Maps says I drove 328 kilometers. The car at that time will say 324. So 4 kilometers off. It's a lot. And I arrived and I could see it from the GoPro footage, all the data that I need. I drove from 90 to 13%. I drove 322.7 kilometers. Google Maps says 328 kilometers. And it took me 3 hours, 3 minutes. And the average consumption on the car says 236 watt hours per kilometer. I put the heat, the data is all in here, and you can see 10 to 14 degrees. It says 21-inch wheels with 285 wide tires. I put in 21 degrees heat because I had 22 degrees, but only 50%. I don't know how to drive, put that in. It has a heat pump. And when I have an average speed of 107.5 kilometers per hour, average consumption, when you see the trip, the car is under-reporting big time. I mean, 5 kilometers on a 320 kilometer trip. And my average consumption would then be 232.2 watt hours per kilometer. But full range is 426 kilometers, like I said, in these conditions. That's not amazing. For 99 kilowatt hour usable that I can get out of this battery for this drive, which is amazing, by the way, to get so much out of the battery. In other cars, and I mean Volkswagen, I never get the data that they tell me. So Hank, with a 77 kilowatt hour battery, I get maximum 74 kilowatt hours, maybe 75, but usually it's under 74. And here, even when it was cold, 10 to 14 degrees, I get almost 99 kilowatt hours, and it should be usable 96. It's just awesome. I apologize that this was not the normal range test that you are used to, and it's not so exciting and entertaining and everything. I apologize, I'm sorry. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below, and here on YouTube there's also channel membership. And if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, or what equipment I'm using, I'm also testing equipment, I'm getting new equipment, then check out my third YouTube channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, have a great day and take care. Bye!